Hi, this is Mike Garner back again with another chapter from this wonderful book, Find and Use Your Inner Power by Emmett Fox. And I keep saying with every presentation that I actually came across this book in an old bookshop in Old Colwyn, and it was a gem of a find, and I'm reading from it now. It was written in 1936. No, it wasn't. It was written in 1937. And it says, to all men and women everywhere who believe that the will of God for man is freedom, health and harmony, and that these things can be attained by learning the laws of life and applying them, knowledge is power. After I've read the chapter, which surprisingly is called, or synchronistically is called, The Will of God, I'll give my commentary, but I'll just say now that if you haven't watched the other 5 presentations, this is number 6. You can replace the word God for universe, intelligent being, or what I like to say, God, God, grand organising designer. In the last session I was talking about quarantine, and at the moment in the UK and all over the world actually, and I'm making this presentation because I'm currently in Thailand. August 2020, there's a pandemic, and the last chapter was all about stand by the quarantine. I stand by for quarantine, the idea that you can quarantine concepts, ideas, questions, and then trust the universe, trust God. This is now the will of God, and if you just don't like the word God, if you're not happy with that, if that doesn't sit comfortably with you, just exchange it for any word that you want, because we live in an intelligent universe. You have a powerful mind. We are powerful and intelligent, so you can interpret this in whatever way you choose. I'm not saying that Emmett Fox is right, I'm not saying that I'm right, I'm just offering this for your consideration. And then I've got some more to say when I've finished reading this very short chapter called The Will of God. So here's Emmett Fox's writings from 1937. It says, the most wonderful thing in the world is the will of God. The will of God for you at the present moment is something glorious and beautiful, thrillingly interesting and joyous, and in fact far beyond anything that you could possibly sit down and wish for with your conscious mind. It's unfortunate that so many people seem to assume as a matter of course that the will of God for them is likely to be something dull or burdensome, if not positively repulsive, he says. I suppose it is God's will for me. This is Emmett Fox's writings. So I must put up with it. People say that when talking about some condition they hate. Thy will be done. Pious people say in the face of tragedy. All this is absolutely wrong. The will of God for man is life, health, happiness, and true self-expression, he says. And it's only in connection with these things that we can say, thy will be done. Trouble or suffering of any kind does not come from God. It's an indication that there's a lesson to be learned by us, and the trouble itself furnishes us with the very opportunity that we need in order to learn that lesson. So such a thing need never happen to us again. Trouble is valuable opportunity, he says. Experience is priceless instruction. The will of God for you is always something joyous and fine. Well, at the moment, as I say, we've got this pandemic going on, and whatever you believe, conspiracy or what the authorities are giving us, it's causing concern, problems and a change in the world. Emmett Fox is saying that that change, which is a massive global worldwide change on many fronts, financial, health, educational, social, economical, that it might seem like shit, but he's saying that we should shift from it. Those are my words, not his. He's saying there are an opportunity, and that the only thing coming from God is joyous, but God is giving us opportunities, he's given us learnings. I always say that the world is a fantastic playground, but it's also a classroom, and we're given opportunities to learn from them. When we learn from them, we go up to the next level of vibration, and at every level of vibration there's a new world. You see a different dimension. Literally, the world operates at a different frequency. As you ascend in vibration, as you become more powerful, as you become more your true self, which is unlimited consciousness, the world that you see changes, because the way you see things changes the things that you look at. When you look at things differently, the things that you look at change. So the troubles in the world, the things that we don't want, are opportunities, and if we embrace them in that way, we can really get some positive purpose out of every aspect of our life, whether we define it as good or bad. There's no good or bad. It's like the old joke, there's no such thing as bad weather, there's just inappropriate clothing. In other words, you go out with a t-shirt on and it's raining and you say, well, it's bad weather, but if you had a raincoat and an umbrella, you'd be equipped and it wouldn't be so bad. If you're equipped for the shit that goes on in your life and the shit that goes on in the world, it's not so bad. When you look at it with the perception that it's an opportunity to learn from, then he's saying that's why God creates these things. I somewhat have a different take on it. I don't see God as separate from us doing these things to us that we react to in a positive or negative or empowering or disempowering way. I believe that we are God, that we come from God, and in unity consciousness we're all part of God, that we're all operating on human FM and then there's God FM, and what we're doing is we're ascending in vibration and frequency to become more godlike, to remember that we are God and we are the creator. So actually we create the shit so that we can shift from it, but we're not aware of that. And when you do wake up and become aware that you're responsible for everything in your life, good and bad, positive and negative, fruitful and all the failures, then that's really empowering. In 1937, quantum physics wasn't really known about. It was Newtonian physics, Newtonian law. Now we understand the quantum molecule, the God molecule. Now we understand Christ consciousness on a different level. Now we understand the potentiality of vibration and frequency. You know, we have devices now that radiate and transmit signals, which they didn't have back in 1937, and we operate in the same way. We are a docking station. So we can take more responsibility for what we attract and what we transmit and what we radiate. We are a receiver. We've got to be the witness to that, and we've also got to take control about what we send out and how we perceive what we retrieve back as a receiver. Why am I saying this? It's because everything is a perception. There's no such thing as good or bad, positive or negative, evil. It's just a perception, it's just a vibration, a shift in vibration, a shift in frequency. And if we can shift our frequency, then we see more of the things in the outer world which match the frequency of our inner world. So we are God, and if it's our will that we go out and are happy, then we see a happy world. If it's our will as God that we want and need success, and it's for the greater good, then success will be attracted to us. That's the way it works. It always has, but a lot of people don't understand that. I don't think in 1937 that was fully understood. It was beginning to become revealed through certain people's teaching, but you know, certain religions were still very powerful back in 1937, and I suppose people like Emmett Fox would have been maybe called a blasphemer or a renegade, certainly a radical, probably wasn't mainstream, would have been frowned upon possibly by religion and by his fellow philosophers and theologists. So I think he was very brave writing this stuff, and I'm very lucky to have found this book, and it's generated this conversation in 2020, and it's certainly made me think that noise is a lizard. I'm in Thailand. Now, whatever you think God is, may your God go with you, but But I believe that I am God, you are God, that we are God, that we have a God mind, and God is good. And if we create good and dwell on good, we'll see more good. We've got to raise our consciousness, raise the level of vibration to match what we want to see more of in our outer world, because it resonates from our inner world. Now you might disagree, and if you do, let me know constructively and lovingly, because I'm giving this information with love, I'm sharing this with love, never saying that I'm right, not making Emmett Fox wrong, not saying he's wrong, I'm not saying he's right. But if you think about it, the world is a reflection, a mirror of your inner thoughts, and if you change your thoughts, you change the world. And if you change your words and your thoughts, and the word is a vibration, and it says in the Bible, and this book is all about God, and biblically it says in the beginning was the Word. What words do you use, and what do you create with your words? Witness your words, be aware of your thinking, and check back for the next chapter from this wonderful book, which is all about finding and using your inner power. And although he's talking about God, I think he accepts that he's talking about God, but, and maybe you talk about God, but God is not out there, God is inside. God is your inner power. It's your superpower, but we've not been taught that. And if you want to know more about that, then you need to contact me. I don't need the contact details where you're viewing this presentation, but for now I'll say be powerful, enjoy your mind. God bless.